Speaking of drunk, let me pour myself a little drink here for the ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Everyone, welcome back to Neon Valley Season 2, Episode 1. That is right, folks. We are here, we are half queer, and we are ready to start the season off. How's it going, Mitchell?
And we won't tell you which one. It's going pretty fantastic.
Pretty fucking obvious.
How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great, except for the bot in our chat. Get the shit out of here. I know we weren't supposed to acknowledge the chat immediately, but
the very first thing we do after saying hi is bot. There's a bot in the chat.
this one here is going to be our Thanksgiving episode. So I feel like I don't want to talk about mac and cheese again. It's two years in a row we've talked about mac and cheese, and I feel like we can't. But I do have to make a point that I am cooking for a vegan this year. No, not a vegan, a dairy-free. It's not. It's worse. It's actually worse. I'm I'm kidding. By the way, I'm sorry. But no. As far as my mac and cheese goes, it's worse.
Dude, you can't make your mac and cheese the way you make your mac and cheese.
No, there's literally nothing I can't, because there's nothing that I can put into it. Whether it's any of my cheeses, any of my milks, any of my creams, any of my nut, any of my,
especially the creams,
my love sauce, as I like to call it. The ladies like to call it in high school until I got banned from gym. Mr. Terry, he was always looking at me funny when I was handing out my love sauce. It's like, get out of here, Tyler, with your love sauce.
Stop spreading the sauce.
I said, hey, you just don't understand me, Mr. Terry. And that's okay. Because at the end of this film, in the third act, we're going to be friends. And you're going to pat me on the back and say, I never understood you, but you're a good kid. And the alien is going to fly off into the third sector of Nectar.
That's where they get the sauce.
Yeah. Are there any good Thanksgiving movies? Trick question.
Charlie Brown.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Wait.
I was going to say.
Is there a Charlie? What's it called? What's it called? Go ahead. Tell me what's it called right now.
Happy Thanksgiving, Charlie.
Yeah, we could just say anything. Yeah. Happy Ramadan, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Sorry, right. It's a 1973 film.
All right, but is that a movie? That's not a movie. That's like a TV special. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't look over like you're checking if it's a movie. It's not a movie.
It's classified as a film, but it is a 30-minute episode. But remember,
film 30-minute, my ass.
22 minutes. So 30 minutes. That's like you get a lot done in 30 minutes.
You could get a lot done in 30 minutes. I have in the past. I've gotten too much done. In fact, some complained. In fact,
stop doing so much stuff in such a little period of time.
Slow down, is what they said, and it's why I became the mayor. But I honestly think that there's a couple good Thanksgiving movies. All right, for one. There's a lost episode that I believe me and you recorded where I did suggest Thanksgiving. It's just called Thanksgiving.
Yes. I did watch that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, of course you did. I just said that there's a lost episode where I suggested that you watch it.
Well, I wasn't sure if you were saying in the episode you suggested I watch it versus the recording of us having watched it and talking about it. Subtle differences in the presentation of the information.
Are you okay? No, but that was a good movie. That
was actually a really good not like a Saw, because I feel like Saw has had so many movies now. It's gotten as psychological as it's also gotten kind of brutal gore, where that was just like
you could call it that.
everybody get fucked up. But
it just
I
had
think
fun.
there was a twist. The twist wasn't like the most groundbreaking thing, but it was a fun movie to watch. I feel like with those movies, it's all about getting creative
Yeah.
with the finished scenes.
Yeah, with the kills specifically. You know?
Yeah.
Were you trying to be PC? Did you not want to say kills or murders? Did you say the
I didn't.
the finish scenes?
I didn't know.
You said the
that's why I was
finish
like,
scenes? Is that what you said?
no, I'm talking about like the finish, like the finished people.
You're talking about people getting murdered violently with knives and chainsaws and guns. You're talking about
stream just goes out.
brutal massacres of the thousands. Yeah, it's a good movie. No, I think that Eli Roth did a good job with that movie, especially because it's based on like a joke trailer that he made in like the earlier.
Oh, that's right. I remember you told me that. Yeah.
So that's fun. There is a movie called Freebirds, starring Owen Wilson, right, and Patrick Warburton, I believe.
Sounds right.
It's an animated film about turkeys who go back in time to stop Thanksgiving from ever happening.
Okay, that actually sounds hilarious.
It's pretty fucking good. I might make you watch it in one of our suggestions because it's worth it. But no, I'm curious. Have you noticed that people don't give a shit about Thanksgiving anymore? Which is fair. I think there's kind of a nuance to it where I think there's some racial tension behind Thanksgiving that people don't necessarily want to attach themselves to, where it's like, what are we really celebrating when we celebrate Thanksgiving? Because I think a lot of us like to assume we're celebrating like, oh, we just family. What are we thankful for? Getting together, having some bomb-ass turkey and mac and cheese and mashed potatoes, some veggies, bread, cranberry sauce. If you're into that, I'm not. But if you're into that, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you. Pumpkin pie, whipped cream. Should I keep going? Sweet. Never mind. I can't keep going. Apparently, my brain broke. So. All right, fine. You got me. I can't keep going. All right, fine. You got me. Anyway, my point is, what was my point, Mitchell? Could you make my point for me? What was my point?
The point is, mac and cheese is absolutely staple of things. No,
it's that in media, people don't seem to care about Thanksgiving anymore. People seem to just pass it over entirely. I don't know if this is the point I was originally making, but it's where we are now.
I was going to say this was the point. Here's my thoughts.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it's a harder to commercialize holiday. You don't buy people gifts. You're like, for grocery stores, ball out.
Even then, it's kind of to a lesser degree now because I don't know. Maybe not, but I just haven't noticed as many like Thanksgiving sales. There was a big thing in the news about Walmart's Thanksgiving thing, but that's only because of Trump making a comment about it. Like, I haven't really noticed like Thanksgiving being a thing in commercials, you know.
So what I think happened with that, because Black Friday used to be like the biggest shopping day of the year. But you have so many online retailers now that you can get a lot of those deals from home.
So you're saying one of the only avenues, the last tinge of the existence of Thanksgiving in media was Black Friday. And now that is dead, people don't even care. Because
here's the thing, if you make a Christmas movie, people are going to watch it. It doesn't matter how terrible it is, it'll still end up on Lifetime.
But you know what? I think we got to wait till this year to see that, because we thought that about Halloween movies, and that didn't quite pan out this year. Apparently, this past October was the worst October in film in the past, like, 50 years or something ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah. So...
Interesting.
And usually October is like an easy gangbuster because it's like, oh, you get Saw or you get some kind of horror film. So I'm curious to see how Christmas movies do, because I don't know if this is just like a theater problem or if it's like an economic problem or if it's a me being an alcoholic problem. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just thinking too much.
A little bit of
A
everything.
little bit of sauced up. By the way, I have had a little bit to drink as a celebration before this, and I probably went too far. So if anyone wants to come at me and say, hey, what's up with Tyler this episode? He seems a little weird. That's probably why. 6 ads in a row, Cam. I did not allow that. All right.
You got 6 ads? I got to start doing ads. I got to catch up. You're not going to beat me. You guys don't know this. Tyler and I are always racing to see who can get more ads off during a stream.
Oh, I forgot to mention, this episode is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Only by me, though, not by Suku. Do not put Suku's name into the box.
This episode is brought to you by Lipton Tea. You can lipped on these nuts.
This episode is brought to you by Teeth. Never mind. It's just brought to you by Teeth. All right, we were talking about theaters, movie theaters, people going to the movies, things like that. What I found interesting is that Frankenstein, which was a movie made specifically for Netflix by Guillermo del Toro recently, was released in theaters. And while people do give it positive reviews and think it is very good, I have not seen it yet, I will admit. So I'm not giving my review of the film. But what I find interesting is that people who have seen it in theaters seem to say that they notice that it feels like a Netflix movie in the theater. That they feel like they're watching a movie that they should be watching at home in the movie theater. And I just thought that was really interesting.
I'm trying to think of, and I'll say it's probably been well over a year since I've been to a movie in a movie theater, partially because I have a 2-year-old child, less about me like not wanting to go. But I'm trying to because I've seen some really good movies on Netflix. So I'm just wondering if in the theater setting, if the audio or the lighting, if it just doesn't come through the same way that movies intended for theater are made, and if it plays a bigger part in it in the end production. Yeah,
because I kind of understand what they mean. Because I feel like I felt it, not many times, but the one time I can say is I saw, which I'm sad that this review may never make it to the light of day. It only might make it to our Patreon because of the audio issues we had. But Companion, while I was watching that in theaters, felt like I was watching like a Netflix or Amazon movie. But and I loved that movie. I think it's great. It's not even like a diss on the movie necessarily. It's just this separation from like film, of feeling like you're experiencing something that like was meant for the greater audience of theaters for you to sit in on and watch a film, and something else that you're meant to experience at home that you can like pause, or that like is meant for all TV aspect ratios and like lighting and color grading. And I don't know what it is, but I thought it was an interesting aspect that nobody's really thought about, because there's so many movies being released on streaming now, and we just kind of see them as movies. But now that those movies are being released in theaters, some people are being like, this feels different. And is that just us? And this isn't a movie that has been released in Netflix before that they're putting in theaters. This was a movie that was put into theaters at the same time it was released on Netflix. So people that saw it in theaters saw it like before they watched anything else. So I don't know. I be interested what the future of that looks like.
Yeah. And again, I now want to go to a theater and see especially a movie like that, because especially for enough people to say that, oh, it feels that way. I I'm still trying to picture like what that experience is like. Like, is it more of, you think, like a technical thing? Because you had mentioned, well, it's made for all aspect ratios, color gradients. So the effect of the glow of the screen, or however the lighting works, when they're making the movies more for Netflix, do you think that that has now affected, again, then going to that big screen, and what it fully looks like? Because I never thought about when a screen is really dark and you maybe have like a window with like light coming through the back and it kind of lights it up, how that might look in a theater just based off lighting and editing. And
Yeah.
again, when you're making something for TVs, that is a very different medium that you're portraying that on.
Yeah. And actually, that's been a thing with there's kind of, I think someone made a video about it like a year or two ago. I wish I could remember the name of it, but in the future edit of this, maybe Joseph can put it on screen here or put a little link. It was a video about the kind of quote unquote Netflix color grading, they called it. And it's kind of this final pass of movies that all like Netflix original movies kind of had to go through. That I don't know if it was necessarily like, you know, they felt the need to have a cohesive look, or all the TVs, they wanted to make sure everyone had a similar experience, whether or not their contrast was like low or high, or they had like a shitty TV versus a good TV and all this stuff. But all Netflix movies like look the same, you know, and as like even their TV shows, like Stranger Things looks the same as that like movie they came out with recently, like The Electric State, I think it's called, or like
Okay.
it also looks the same as like House of Cards. It has like the same color grading and the same. There's no like original quote unquote
aesthetic to it.
Yeah, exactly, because they kind of have to go by a specific a schematic to make sure that it passes the Netflix thing. And it's very interesting because I hate that obviously for obvious reasons, and it's something that I have noticed. Like always watching movies, I'm like, this has a, like watching a Netflix movie, you always kind of know you're watching a Netflix movie, you know. That was even something that like I think was a detriment to the Happy Gilmore sequel, was like I had a lot of fun with it, and I think like, hey, for a Happy Gilmore sequel, it is what it is. It's funny. It's fun, but it's so.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. It's so Netflix, and I also can't look past their kind of scummy tactics that they do, because they took the original Happy Gilmore. And I might be wrong. Maybe they put it back on. You know, people don't flame me. But when that movie came out, they took the original Happy Gilmore off of Netflix and made it so that you had to rent the movie or buy it somewhere or do so. But they also have flashbacks of Happy Gilmore too. Like they have flashbacks to the first movie where they'll show like a full like minute scene from the first movie. And it almost feels like they're trying to make you feel like, don't you want to watch that one again too? Well, maybe you should go buy it because you can't watch it anymore on Netflix.
Almost like it's a commercial for the first one.
Yeah, it never has flashbacks felt so egregious. Let me say that sentence again because it was so slurred because of the whiskey I've had. Never have flashbacks felt so egregious in a film than when I've watched Happy Gilmore 2. I know that's a random aside, but yeah, they just literally show the first movie for like a minute, and it's like, yeah, I've seen it. Like I know, that's why I'm watching the second.
I would not be here without going through the first one.
No, exactly. Before we talk about the movie today, get into our Junji Ito conversation, did you have any other topics you want to talk about? We've got a little time.
Oh, yes. So there was one that I just thought would be a fun thing to ask is, what was the first job you ever wanted? Like as a kid where you're like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Oh, man. I I know I always wanted to be a musician for sure. Like and that sounds like a cheap answer, but for sure, like watching musicians growing up and hearing music, like I always was like, I want to be on stage. But when I was thinking like seriously about like quote unquote career, and I was like younger, say like 11, 10 years old, and I was like, oh, what do I want to be? I genuinely thought I was going to be a Coast Guard. I was so amped on the idea.
I remember that. Yeah.
And was it because I saw the movie The Guardian with Ashton Kutcher? Maybe. 100%. Maybe. No, I'm not confirming or denying. I'm just saying that movie came out the same year that I became obsessed with the idea of possibly becoming a Coast Guard. But in my opinion, it was also the only
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, where there's no water. But I also was like, this feels like the only branch of the military that actually defends people. Like, yeah, we're going out to save people. We're not shooting anybody. We're not killing anyone. It's like
a rescue unit.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? This makes sense. And then I was like, also, no, thank you. That I did learn to wade in water for 5 to 10 minutes, though. Like, I can wade in water for quite some time.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. No. People at home, you're like, what the fuck? Try it. Try to just wade in water for longer than 60 seconds and tell me how difficult it is. All right. What about you? What was your dream job when you were a kid? So mine was always very strong. I wanted to be a whale trainer at SeaWorld just because I wanted to work with the whales. I wanted to be a marine biologist, obsessed with animals and sea life. And then as I got older, it wasn't even because I didn't want to be that as much. I think it was my parents started giving me recommendations of what are things you want to do. I remember when I was like 13, I'd go in to help my dad with like mailing envelopes and stuff like that. And I very much took after around that age of, I want to do what my dad does. So he worked in spa industry. We moved to Vegas when he became the VP of the spa at the Aladdin Hotel before it became Planet Hollywood. And I was just like, this is a super cool job. Spas are really cool. They smell really good. Because I'm like a kid and I'm not getting massages or anything. So like, sign me up, dude.
I was like, this doesn't smell my lacrosse bag. This smells pretty good in here. And I don't know, my dad seemed to like what he did. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get into the spa industry. And the closest I ever did was I worked as a fitness attendant in a spa. So I technically, I guess, touched that. But it's funny because the fitness attendant that I was in the spa for was not attached to the spa. So at the Hard Rock Casino, before it became the Virgin,
it was actually just some guy who had a website. He was trying to see women in bikinis. It was a whole thing. I can't really explain it.
Took me 4 years to realize.
Yeah, and a lot of naked photos. But goddamn, I made some good money.
I'm actually retired.
Also, my name was Flex Steel Strong. If you want to look up any of my photos.
Not Flex Steels Strong.
No.
That was an abduction case entirely separate.
Yeah, that was a whole thing with the FBI. We don't talk about that.
And just like separate. The Hard Rock gym was on one end of the casino, and then the spa was in a different tower on the opposite end of another casino. So I was as far away from the spa. And well, it's literally that. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say that it's interesting that your parents seem to be like your biggest influence of what you wanted to like be as a kid. Like you're like, and it's funny because for me, like my dad was a cop and from a very young age, I almost immediately was like, that sounds scary. No, thank you. And and then as I got older, I was like, that sounds corrupt. No, thank you. And then my mom was a hairdresser, and I was like, maybe. But no, that wasn't really for me. So it's interesting that like I never attached any kind of like I never even thought about my parents' careers as like possible careers for me. Like maybe for like a year or two when I was like 4 or 5, maybe I wanted to be a cop. Maybe my dad might be like, "Oh no, I remember when you were a kid, you had a little," but
and you're like, sure.
Yeah, I don't remember it. I don't think it was not for me. So, I find that funny because, yeah, and also the people in my family, like I never had anyone in my family that I necessarily looked up. Like I had people in my family I looked up to, but I never necessarily was like, I want your career. Like I had family members who were like lawyers, teachers, like managers of like factories and like everything in between. But there was never anything I was like, oh, your job sounds sick. Like I want to do that. It was always like, I want to be in music entertainment. And I never really, nobody in my family was ever really in that field. So I was always like, I guess I just need to separate myself from that and become like more of the entertainment thing. Good topic, my friend. Thank you very much for bringing that today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That'll be a little fun one for us.
And you know what? Thank you all for listening. We could get into a little bit of a Q&A. I don't know. What do we think, chat? Do we have some questions for Neon Valley? If not, we can get into our movie conversation. We have no problem. If so, we will open up the next couple minutes to a Neon Valley Q&A. I know that Gerbils was like fucking yapping about something earlier. I'm sorry. That's not cool for me to say these things. All right. So Sidian has some questions. What do you got for us? Come on. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not scared anymore.
I mean, I still am, but we still want them anyways.
No, make me say it. Make me say the worst word you could possibly say. What's the best nut?
What?
Oh, it's a good question. Almonds are up there, but they're not the best nut.
Not even close.
What's like the really soft one that's real savory? Is it macadamia? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Cashews, are you thinking?
Hazelnuts are a little too sweet. Hazelnuts are good in other things as like an extract and like but I don't think they're the best nut.
I think the regular nuts, like the peanuts.
What the fuck are you talking about? But that's a legume, dude. That's not even a nut.
Is that how
I mean,
that
if we're getting semantic here, if we're getting pedantic,
no, we're getting nuts.
If we're getting satanic,
we're getting nuts.
We're just getting nuts tonight. But no, you're right. A peanut is fire. It's and a fire roasted peanut is lit.
Oh, dude,
and the one with roasted fire peanut, dude, that is awesome.
A flame grilled, fire roasted, oven fired peanut. Get out.
Oh man, that's 6'7". All right, anyway.
Sharp Royal.
Honey roasted peanuts we have in the chat here. Yeah.
Honey roasted peanuts. That's when I was like, no, there's one with like a not seasoning, but like I guess it's technically seasoning.
Cashews.
But the honey roast.
Cashews. We're done. We're done talking. We're done talking. I can go home. They're the best nut. They're the best nut. It's the best nut.
They're not.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Honey roasted peanuts.
No, cashews are the best raw nut you can have in your mouth, dude.
Honey roasted peanuts.
If nature is rawing, cashew is a fruit. Your mom is a fruit, dude. And listen, okay, I'm sorry. Cashews are overrated? Are you fucking kidding me?
My dad watches this podcast.
In this chat right now.
Yeah, cashews are overrated.
They're not.
Dude,
they're the fucking best nut. They're the best nut I've ever had in my life.
It's bland. There's no flavor. That's why the honey roasted.
Bland.
Oh.
Honey roasted. Yeah, exactly. Because you need to put honey on them. But if you were to put a raw nut up against a raw cashew, you wouldn't even fucking last a day, dude. Without your honey overlord.
Because cashews are so much bigger. You got all that jumblies in your mouth and it's got no flavor on it.
Pecans are pretty good.
So you got to pecans. Oh, dude. Well, here's the thing. Pecans are good when they're like on things. like
When
the
they're
pecan
submissive.
ice cream, like the
When they
caramel
do what you tell
pecan
'em
like
to
ice
do.
cream mix.
You had the laugh of please stop talking. That was like that you I don't know why, but I could hear it in your laugh that you were like, please stop. What are you like what are you saying?
Where's this going now? Oh my god, that's hilarious.
The cashew crash out? Yeah, that's what it's about to happen right now.
Crash you.
All right, I'm gonna open this up to one more question in the chat, and then I think we have to talk
Yeah,
about
we're
the
gonna
movie
spend
because this has
15
been
minutes
chaos.
on fucking nuts.
Dude, I'll spend an hour on a nut, bro. I don't care if it feels good enough. I mean, tastes good enough. If it goes down good
Get
enough.
your nut, bro. You gotta get your nut.
Called gooning. The kids call that gooning nowadays. They
Lagooning.
call it lagooning. Yes! Yes!
We did it.
Holy shit, Captain Kirk. Bring us home.
Oh, we got a fun fact. We got a fun fact courtesy of Oculus. He says the packaged cashews you buy from the supermarket are sprinkled with salt and pepper. That's why they're so good. So you and your stance are built on a mount of lies.
Dude, yours have honey on them. Yeah, no shit, there's salt on them. I assume there's salt on nuts, bro. My nuts come pre-salted. All of our nuts come pre-salted, dude. That's how nature works.
All I do is pre-salt, bro.
All I've been doing is pre-salting. All right, I have a final thing.
Okay.
Stop. Listen, Sidian, I don't care if a cashew isn't technically a nut. It's a fruit. We've already been talking about peanuts, all right? I understand. I get it. Nothing is a fruit. Nothing is a nut. Everything is non-existent. We are all but a thought of a floating brain in a tub. Do you understand? This is nothing. We don't exist. Anyway, an ad is about to play, and then we're going to talk about Junji Ito's Uzumaki. By the way, I'm going to add a fake ad in between. I'm going to keep me saying that in there, and I'm going to add like a fake advertisement in between that little rant I had there. Nothing is a fruit. You're a fruit, so get out of here with saying nothing is a fruit. All right. You guys really going to cancel me over saying that nothing is a fruit? I can't win. Now I understand. Why are birds so crazy? That's a good question.
Local Neon Valley bird expert here. I can answer that. There's different kinds of birds. If we're speaking of parrots in the parrot family specifically, they're mini sky puppies. So they want the same attention dogs do, but they actually have a higher intelligence. So they yell when they're angry and they get crazy because they want your attention. Thank you.
Dude. But I'm going to get a little divisive here. I always hate it when there's facts about animals where it's like, oh, well, you know, they could be smarter than this, but their bodies can't handle it. It's like, well, then they're not. Then they're just not. Then they can't. I don't care what you think their brains can do. They can't do it.
Wait, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I said birds are smarter than dogs?
Yeah. How so? What does a bird do that proves it's smarter than a dog? Also, this is joke anger. But prove to me. What? Tell me. Go ahead.
Birds have been found to solve more complex problems than dogs can.
Oh yeah? Like what? Have they solved the Resident Evil 4 puzzle behind the church? Have they done that? Because honestly, it's one of the hardest puzzles in all of video game history. Because if you mess up the first turn, you're fucked on all of the rest of the turns. So tell me, has a bird done that? Because the dog has. Birds can
dog
talk.
has
That's what
birds can talk.
someone said in my chat.
I was gonna say birds can order things off Amazon because they understand they can order from Alexa
Because they've
and things will
been
be delivered.
manipulated by humans to do it.
Everything's been manipulated. The planet has been manipulated.
And I can manipulate a
humans.
dog to do it. I bet I could get Link to order Amazon packages for me if I tried hard enough. No, probably not. That
With
guy,
his
he's
voice.
a bitch. He's a fucking little asshole. He wouldn't do it. There ain't no way. Anyway, okay, are we ready to talk about the movie?
Let's do it.
Not really a movie.
We're all back
TV
from our
show.
commercial breaks.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, crows are smart as fuck. They use tools.
Okay, crows, yes. But I honestly believe that crows are some kind of weird Lovecraftian creature that have existed beyond our realm of existence. So that's kind of a
Crows
different
are, like,
story.
Smart as
Like,
fuck.
pigeons and crows might as well not even be the same species. And I don't care if I sound like I'm some kind of future Nazi, like I'm a bird Nazi for saying that. It's true. True.
Yeah, it's parrots and parrots and crows, magpies, which I think is like a crow.
Don't even get me started on magpies. Oh, sexy, sexy little beasts. Not sexually.
Just sexy.
Just sexy. Okay. Welcome back. We are talking about Junji Ito's Uzumaki. Now,
Not that one. Different Uzumaki. Not that one.
So, okay, interesting. I actually didn't make that correlation. I don't know why. Because it just means
really?
spiral in Japan.
Yes, which the family crest for the Uzumaki clan is literally just a spiral
Of course,
as well.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Anyway, now I should say that this isn't necessarily Junji Ito's project. He didn't make it, obviously. This is a modern interpretation that was made like about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it came out like 2024.
Okay. Yeah. It's a 4-episode series that I watched it on HBO Max. Yes, I watched on it. So I don't know what it was released on.
Hulu. I'm pretty sure that's what we watched it on, was Hulu.
Okay. So do we want to give our initial ratings for it, or do we want to leave this as a little bit of a surprise here?
Ooh. Let's do initial ratings, because otherwise it becomes like you kind of figure out how we feel probably by the end of it.
All right. And nobody click off, because you never know. After you hear our initial ratings,
They have changed
They
after
have
we've
changed.
like discussed.
we've swayed. Our ratings for Uzumaki is 3, 2, 1.
8 out of 10.
6 out of 10. I kind of stumbled over my words there a little bit.
And I might be hovering between a 7 and an 8, but
Okay, so you're not enthralled by this because I wasn't sure going into this. I was like, is this something he's going to be a 10 out of 10? And he's like,
it's more of I love this. So one thing I don't know what you might have looked into it that is very, very commonly discussed regarding the series is the first episode, incredibly high praise. They had a different animation team after the first episode. People became very upset with how the look of 2, 3, and 4 were in comparison to how 1 looked.
So this is something I noticed. I didn't look up much about. I looked up some stuff about the original story to see
Right.
like what coincided. I didn't look up much about reviews of it because I was still like watching the show as I was looking stuff up, so I didn't want to see that. But that was something I noticed was by quite literally the second episode, the mouth movements and the running animations,
The animation quality.
it dropped.
They spent all their budget on like the first one, and then they had to get a different studio. It sucks.
And it's such a long manga that for 4 episodes to be It's not like a long manga. I'm not saying it's like, oh my god, it's like fucking
Yeah, it's not like One Piece or
yeah.
Naruto.
It's not like the It of manga or something, but it's still long enough where for 4 episodes to condense all of the story into it was already like a lot to do, in my opinion.
The pacing is very quick, and that's
It's my biggest
that's where
problem
like
with the show.
the 7, because I love it. I think it's a great story. I love how it's told. I think it has a very interesting twist, but it's more like the elements, the elements that I was just like, oh damn, were less to do with the actual story itself and more of how the story was presented. Again, from the animation change to feeling like it was very rushed.
Well, also, can I mention that weirdly in like I believe it was episode 3, near the end of episode 3, the animation got really good again. It was like,
oh yeah, there's some moments where you're like, oh,
I was just like,
okay.
oh, the last half of this episode, I was like, this is all really animated very well. Like, what is going on? And then it just drops again. And then it just kind of goes on these roller coaster waves. And I can kind of get over that for certain things where it's like, hey, you know, budget, time constraints. I think my biggest thing was the pacing of the story. I never felt like I was attached to a central story. Like, I know that the spiral curse is the central kind of driving force of the entire story. The way it kind of jumps between all of the different plights that the characters go through, it made it feel so sporadic that I never felt like a cohesion through all of them. They just felt like random things happening at different times. Like, because it also felt like at a certain point, like by episode 2 or 3, the main characters should be like, the town is going crazy. What the fuck is going on? We need to get the fuck out of here. And instead, they're like still going to school and like still. And like, I kind of like that because it's like, it's Lynchian. It's very like, it's very Lovecraftian where it's like, oh, maybe just the world is weird. But the way that the story progresses makes it feel like, no, this is a bad thing. Like the spiral curse is a thing that's inflicting the town. So why the fuck is everyone not reacting more to it? I don't know. That was one thing I felt strange about.
So I guess maybe thought on that would be not more people are entranced or don't realize it's happening. And I think like even the way he stops and goes, look at the water, there's like whirlpools forming in the river.
Yeah, in the first episode.
I think that was meant to show like he's clearly very perceptive to this, and his dad was very heavily affected and heavily influenced the rest of it. And I feel like once it had kind of spread into the sky where his ashes were cremated, that's when I felt like, other than the main character and the guy, because I really feel the girl was the main character, I felt like they were the only ones that could really separate it. But at the same time, I think they wanted to get out, but I don't think they knew how. And by the time they're like, we just need to leave and screw it, we're going to go through the mountains
like,
if we have to.
Late. Yeah.
It was too late, because it's one of those. Would your first reaction be like, oh, this is 100% going to be dangerous and I need to leave? Or
if my
weird,
classmate turned into a snail, yes. And my hair
at that
started
point,
to do a crazy
once
thing.
that one, you got to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Well, that's what I mean. That was like episode 2. You know, it's like the hair thing. It's like, was episode 3, I believe. No, episode 3 was the mosquito thing. So yeah, episode 2 was the hair thing. By then, I would have been like, "What the?" And I get it. I walk on a weird line with this movie, or TV series, I should say, because I love the imagery, the art, and
oh my god,
the way it speaks to what Junji Ito's like original artwork was for this story is like very well done, and it's genuinely creepy. Like, there's a few choices that like I think it I think they're trying to replicate what he did in his artwork, but for an anime, like kind of live action, like a animated thing. I don't know if it quite works. Is where like some of the characters have like a newspaper clipping, like white line around them, especially during nighttime. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like there's some things like that were a little distracting. It's whatever, not a big deal. But the animation beyond that, like, even on the cheaper episodes, isn't terrible. Like there's a few parts where they're like running and you can clearly see the ground doesn't match up with the feet. That's very distracting and looks awful.
The one that killed me is when they fall down the spiral staircase and they just
at the end of episode 3 or something. Just
like they just shrunk.
Yeah. I loved the spiral staircase aspect of the lighthouse, because there's actually a lot of symbolism in this story that works really well. I, for one, to make a point, I love the symbolism of a spiral. I think it in storytelling, it actually is very strong, ironically.
Oh no, it's got him.
It's in me. No, but there's, funny enough, the game Alan Wake 2, that came out.
Love that DJ.
We've been over this. It's Alan Walker. No, Alan Wake 2. It came out like a year and a half ago, I want to say. And in this game, the character is stuck in this kind of like reality loop where he keeps repeating the same thing over and over again, and he's trying to get out of it. And he feels like he's going crazy. And one of the revelations he has at the end of the game is that he's not stuck in a loop, he's stuck in a spiral, which means that eventually there will be an end to it, which is the bottom of the spiral where all of this will end. So it was this like, and for me, it was this like very terrifying realization of like, even a metaphor for like addiction or obsession, where you feel like you're in a loop, like, oh, I spend every day, I drink, I smoke, I do drugs, whatever it might be. But you're not in a loop, you're in a spiral that's slowly falling. Even though you feel like you're just repeating your days every time, you're actually slowly sinking. So spirals have a very like strong metaphorical meaning, and this is something I've seen in media in the past year or two, so it was cool watching this. And I think the show does a good job of that, of like making you see it in nature and making you feel like what that is. It feels silly at first, but the show even makes a point where what's the main character's name? The male main character's name. Ooh, that's
Shuichi.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, his character near the beginning says, you can laugh at it. I know it sounds silly, but until you see it, you can't understand the horror of it. And I think that's actually pretty profound, because there is like a sense of like, even if you think about, I don't mean to get too like dark or serious here, but if you think about like family members going through like Alzheimer's or like schizophrenia or like things like that.
Yeah.
When you describe what they're going through, it can sound kind of like funny. It's like, oh, they kept screaming about like they need their toaster. Oh, I need my toaster. I need my toaster. But if you're there and experiencing what that person is going through, it's terrifying.
Horrifying.
What did you think about the kind of relationship? I felt like there was a lot of characters they kept introducing that I was hard for me to keep track, because every episode it was like there's a new character that I was already supposed to know who you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that goes more back to the pacing. Watching it the second time, it made it a little bit easier because my brain had mapped out, okay, in this episode, this is the curse that's going to happen, and these are the people that they're interacting with that it's going to affect. But when you're going through it for the first time, you're like, do I need it? Is this going to be important? Is this going to be on the test? Like, you don't know what you're going to need to know for the story. And then you realize, like, by the third episode, like, oh, okay, people are either just dying or turning into weird snake things and just
Yeah.
fucking off to nowhere.
Because I'll be honest, like I sat down and I tried to pay attention and rewound like as much as I possibly could to like figure out what was going on. But even at a certain point, I don't know. At the end of the episode, I believe it was episode 2, where the two people become like twisted snake figures and they twist into each other and then fall into the pond, you know, the lake or whatever, Dragonfly Lake. Were they related? Were they lovers?
No, they were neighbors.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure they were neighbors, and they both came from like.
Why does everyone call him Cousin Jito or whatever? Whatever. I hate that everyone calls him cousin. So I kept thinking that like that was her cousin, because literally before they twist up, she says like Cousin Saito, and then they twist up together, and I'm like, yeah, no, they do, and it's like I get it if that's just with the character, but I was like, are they related? Is this even like a darker element of like family members that are so torn apart that need to feel together that now they feel like a lust for each other, even though they shouldn't, but the family makes them feel like they should because of how much they're pulling them apart. You know what I mean? Like there could be something deeper there that isn't just like incest, haha, funny. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Now, because I don't have any recollection of them saying, okay, so, because now I'm like, wait, cousin? I don't remember cousin.
Yeah.
Oculus, because Oculus is like, they crammed 20 chapters into 4 videos. 20 chapters of a monthly release are big. And if it's anything like Naruto, like a monthly release could be up to 40 pages. So you're talking 20 chapters, 20 times 40, so 800 pages in hour and a half, 2 hours time. Like,
yeah, it's just too rushed.
That definitely explains the pacing. I don't remember
because she says like mom and dad, were they brother and sister? I swear to God that they were like related, because she literally says mom and dad keep fighting.
I remember the mom and dad, but I thought she was just saying like mom and dad, like my mom and dad, but he knows who they are. So when she says, "Oh, mom and dad," as in like, mom and dad keep fighting.
Yeah, maybe. No,
but maybe that's me just thinking. Hopefully that it's
I mean, the
not
show
that
is
they're
so
related.
fucked up that I can't. I mean, there's literally like baby placenta death, and like I wouldn't put it past them.
I was like, whoa.
You know, fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, the baby's talking about wishing they could go back to the womb. Like, where they're just like, you think we're going to go back where we came from?
The scene of the mother sewn back up with it like put back in, I was like, oh, that's one
but
where
it's,
he
again,
got
it's
me.
like,
I was like,
it's like, what? Like, if this episode had double the time, or episode, if this series had double the episodes, that it could kind of like sit with these experiences, I think it would work so much better. It's just they rush through them so much. And I understand that it's an animated show. So like obviously you're only going to have so much budget for like a full animation. But like the amount of times they switch through these things is just so aggressive.
And what they might have done, because I think studios will do this, like Demon Slayer does this. For granted, they don't do like bad episodes. They'll spend a lot of money on specific like fight scenes or entrance scenes to really highlight it, where I think this was like the opposite, where it's like, we're going to spend money on a few scenes in the later ones so that way the moments could look nicer. So they were two lovers from feuding families that were trying to escape the town. It was Yuriko Endo and Kazunori Nishiki. I remember when she said mom and dad, I had the same knee-jerk reaction where I was like, wait. But then then I remember them saying we're gonna like run away and elope, and I was like, oh, I don't think they're related. But yeah,
there was.
But they grew up neighbors their whole life, so that's why when she says mom and dad, it's like
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think that to not because I don't want to harp too much on it. I think we can kind of like get through. I did like the vignettes. It almost felt like a monster of the week kind of show. It almost would have worked
Oh,
like that, you know? Like I think the
yeah.
mosquito episode and the placenta doctor episode could have been like two different episodes. You know, or like there's certain like story beats that I'm like, these happen so close together that I'm like
It
jarred by
it
like how much.
it's because the condensing, which now I really want to read the full original thing.
Yeah, and I've heard people say that like the manga is obviously much more laid out. I like the reviews I have seen online that I did read that didn't like spoil anything seem to be very mixed. There's people who are like, this is great, I love the art, I love the story and all that stuff, and then there's some people who are like, literally 1 out of 10, this disgraced Junji Ito, like how dare they release this. And it's like
Yeah.
I don't agree with the 10 out of 10, and I don't agree with the 1 out of 10. I am that 6 out of 10 somewhere in the middle where I'm like, I genuinely enjoyed the artwork and the style, and that first episode of having rotoscoping mixed in with the
Oh,
anime
yeah.
is very interesting because you don't see it much, but it works so well with this like uncanny valley kind of Lynchian story that I loved it. But you lose that in the next 3 episodes. There's not much rotoscoping in like human elements,
Yeah.
and it's very weird. I love the Lovecraftian stuff. I have to bring it up because I am a fan of Lovecraft. I have read Lovecraft's things more than I've read Junji Ito's.
Mhm.
And watching this made me realize how much of a fan he must be of Lovecraft, because
Gotcha.
this reeks of like the ports of Innsmouth and the Mountains of Madness and the stories that Lovecraft has told, where you have like a small town that has this kind of cosmic horror entity thing they can't control that just takes over the entire town. And even some of the characters becoming these snail human hybrids
Yeah.
was so because Lovecraft has these fish human hybrids that have happened throughout history.
Oh.
Is on like a port town, and it's very kind of but I love the way Junji Ito makes it work, where it's like, oh well, later in the story they have to move slowly so that they don't affect the whirlwinds. And that almost ties into like an evolutionary thing where it's like, oh well, do you become a snail if you have to survive in this kind of like
Yeah.
society thing?
I
Like,
hadn't thought about that one. That's
Yeah.
that's actually super interesting.
because the brother makes a joke where he's like, oh, we have to be quiet, we have to move slow as snails, and like he
Dude,
becomes
the
a snail.
brother situation.
Oh, that
Oh,
never even comes
and when
back. I never even thought of that.
no, like this was very much like, I'm giving you this story, and it's not necessarily like, oh, we're gonna wrap everything up with a nice bow at the end. Like this shit happened. But dude, I was so constantly stressed when they were like, oh, we're gonna eat him next. Also, we have an update, and I think it's hilarious. Nobody was saying cousin. His last name is Kazunori. Or his first name's Kazunori.
Why
So it
the
wasn't
fuck
cousin
in
Nori.
in the English
Kazunori.
version? I promise you, they say cousin. Like maybe they're saying
I
cousin.
watched the
like
English
cousin.
version.
Like okay, I can hear it now. Like I can understand where that probably was happening. I get it. That's crazy though, because I swear they were like, okay,
Well,
Kazunori. Okay, all right,
You've seen the bear, right?
cousin.
Because I just said
Fucking
Kazunori.
Sidian just commented, "Hey, cousin." You know what? This is one of the few shows that I haven't watched with subtitles, so that may have been the detriment to my experience. That's funny as fuck.
You're like, now I see why I watch these with subtitles.
Oh, I feel stupid. Okay, fair enough.
What do you think of? But before I get to the ending, the scenes where it was like his face in the cloud, him in the spiral, I thought they got those moments really well. Like
I really
they
liked
captured.
it. Oh yeah, the spiral imagery and like the
Oh,
clouds and
man.
stuff, super good. I mean, that whole first episode, not to
The
harp on
first
that too
episode
much,
was insane.
Yeah, the obsession with the father and him getting in that machine or like the little
Oh
tub,
my god, dude.
like it set up the show so well, which I think is why it's such a down. I okay, and also the first episode had a nice balance of comedy, where literally right after the one character who's obsessed with the girl gets sucked into her hole in her head,
Yup.
it cuts to her looking for him and he's up in the tree and he's like hiding in the tree and he's like, that dude just got sucked into her head. Like it's so funny. I was like dying. I was like, that's so fucking real. Like that would be like, yeah, I would be fucking out of there.
That's exactly what you would do. You'd be like, fuck this.
He's like, what the fuck just happened? So good. This does suffer from the anime trope of like over explaining. I can't like, I know that it's just an anime thing that I just have to like understand, but I can't. And it hurts me every time, is where it's like, especially near the end, where the reporter in the 4th episode keeps monologuing of being like, I'm out here and whoa, there's whirlwinds and they're coming toward me. Whoa, and they just picked up that guy. Whoa, the whirlwind is taking that guy off into I hope it doesn't take him to a bad place. Like, it just kept, like, interjecting with these inner monologues that, like, the imagery is showing me enough. The imagery is terrifying. But by having you tell me what the character is experiencing, I'm just like, oh, okay. It takes me out of it personally.
Oh, that's funny. So Oculus said the manga is cryptic as hell, actually. So I was actually gonna make a case potentially for the other side of saying with manga, because you're not getting the sounds, you're not getting the motion. Like you can draw things that imply motion, but without that, I was thinking, well, maybe in the manga they do that to kind of explain, because you're not using nearly as many words. It's not like a novel, a book where it's all this description. So it's all going to be whatever you're able to draw, and then communication bubbles or like a thought bubble, maybe a narration bubble. So I didn't know if maybe that was an idea of setting up that. But if he's saying the manga is cryptic as hell, then maybe they were like, we want to explain it because the manga's confusing to us.
Yeah, I got that vibe. Like, I don't know, because I've seen Junji Ito adaptations before, and I've only read like small snippets of his. I am not going to call myself a fan of Junji Ito because I have not like sat down and read enough of his work to say that I can like tell you anything authoritatively about his work. I don't know. But from what I had seen of his work and read of his work, it is very more about what the mind can create more than what the story is telling you directly. So like when the story keeps saying like, he's becoming a snail person, they're called blank blanks, or like, and they're doing this, and these are the eggs, and I have to stomp them. It, like, I know that those things probably were said in a certain extent in the story. I felt like they couldn't have been said so outright. I don't know if it's just a translation thing, or maybe it was said like that in the story. Maybe that's also true, but it feels so like pandering to the audience of like you don't understand what's happening right now, so I need to tell you what's happening, because if I don't, you're going to be confused next scene and you're not going to pay attention. So I need to tell you what's happening right now. And that kind of would draw me out of it. But again, that's such an anime trope where a lot of, like, even Naruto has a lot of that, where it's like, oh, he just used, you know, X and Y to make sure that Z doesn't happen. Let me explain what that means.
Yeah, and I think just from however many years it's been to me watching anime, that I hadn't even thought about that part of it. Like the explanation part of me, to me, is that it's just normal in most animes, especially when weird shit starts going on.
Yeah, and And I do like it's a little bit of like if I'm putting my like super critical hat on, because again, I love this story. And when you actually look at when he originally wrote it, I think it's like 25 years old. Like it's like the 90, like late.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like 98 through 2000.
Dude,
I believe he wrote
25
it.
years old is 2000. It's not in the 90s. That's
No, 98 through 2000 is what I said. Okay.
no, I was just more of thinking of
yeah.
the timeline of 25 years of, oh, fuck. 25 years ago is 2000.
So I feel like storytelling was in a different place. You know, a lot of culture was in a different place. So like his kind of like commentary on women wanting attention feels very like old hat. You know, like there's 2 full episodes that seem to be, because you have the scar on the girl's head, and then she seems to have this like magical draw of all the boys that want to like get with her, right? And it's like boys' obsession with her. And then in the second episode, you have a girl who is friends with the main character who feels though her hair through the spirals is getting more attention than her. So she craves attention. And she repeats over and over again, attention. I want attention. I just need attention. And it does feel a little bit like, okay, yeah, high school girls want attention. And like I know that it's also like the spiral creates an obsession that it's supposed to be a commentary on that, but it did feel a little bit like him exposing a little bit of how he feels about younger girls, and also how he feels about younger boys. He feels like they're very obsessive and like all they want to do is just like fuck and like find. Yeah, see, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
It does, but I don't know. I don't know if I got the vibe that like that was a message he was trying to send.
Maybe not a message he's trying to send, but more of like an inherent like, that's a thing that you'll see in a lot of like 90s and 2000s media. You know, it would seem to be a very like cultural thing of like boys are horny and girls want attention.
It was like a trope.
Yeah, but used in a very interesting way that is like horrific and like can be taken to a degree that is, so it at the same time it's a commentary on that. So I'm not necessarily taking it as a dig.
That's fair. When the homeboy jumped in front of the car though,
that was a good one. That was a good one.
I was half expecting him to do something with the spiral and like become like powerful or stop the car
but
or something.
He did in a way, because he got spiraled around the tire. No, literally his body.
No, I meant like use the spiral to stop. Of course, yeah. But he got absolutely spiraled. That was
in his own way. Okay, so let's kind of talk about the final episode as we wrap this up.
Yeah.
I guess as our final opinions on it. The final episode was equally like some of the most interesting, but also maybe the weakest for me, is where it kind of fell flat.
Interesting.
Maybe the note it ended on made me feel like bittersweet about what the entire journey of this 4-episode series has been.
Oh, dude, the ending, I still keep going back and forth with like what I think about the ending.
I'm of 2 separate minds about it. I have like a lore thoughts, and then I have just thoughts about like as a show, what do I think about it? You know, and as a show, what do I think about it? I think that it doesn't end on a great note, and it doesn't really wrap up things to a satisfying nature that feels like I don't want everything answered, but I also want to feel like all the themes we've set up throughout all this and everything works together. And it just kind of doesn't. Like, I love the beautiful moment of them intertwining and saying, like, I want to be here with you. Let's just live out. But the entire show didn't feel like it's about their relationship. So why is that the note that we're leaving off on? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I think, though, it was more about there's certain things you just can't control. That this is inevitable, at least for this story. Like I had to look at this as a story of this is here to tell you like a horror movie style. This is a scary situation that's going to happen, and there's nothing that they could have done to stop it.
Yeah,
it is
so,
like what I feel like I've had to take away from it.
So it's like, all right. I'm not gonna. All right. Because I'm not gonna get heated here. But I'm just gonna say that you gave Under the Silver Lake 1 out of 10 because you said that one of the messages of the movie was that it was hopeless, and that's like, what's the point? And if that's a message you can get from this movie and feel like, oh well, it's just kind of like a horrific outcome, like that's.
Oh, but the story was so much better. The story didn't make any fucking sense. It was.
What about this story makes sense? Okay, but to be fair, what about the story makes because it's an anime? No, because it's an anime, it has the freedom to make less sense. This story makes no sense. It makes no sense.
It's like you had mentioned, Lovecraftian.
Sure.
So there's elements that allow it. There's a curse, and that's why these things are happening.
Okay.
Oh,
but it doesn't make any sense.
Let me read this Nintendo power. And I'm just going to realize that this has actually got a secret message.
Oh, you mean the Nintendo Power that was written by the Hollywood system that he was raised on, which is the entire point of the movie. Listen, brother, you are part of a system you don't even realize.
It was so convenient that he had all the things that he needed.
Listen, I'm just saying that I think that this is just as silly as Under the Silver Lake. I think that there is so many things in this that just pop up out of nowhere that are like, oh, by the way, in episode 2, there's snail people. Oh, by the way, in episode 3, there's mosquito women that suck the blood to create babies that can speak English and want to go back to their womb and grow placenta mushrooms that you can eat, that you become obsessed with, but also become spirals that feed into a greater meaning. And in episode 4, there's an entire city that becomes a spiral that goes into a greater chasm that reaches down into the, let's say, Lovecraftian, godlike, cosmic entity.
It's a spiral curse.
Yes. Okay. But it doesn't make any sense. In a sense, it doesn't make any sense. If I was to show you, like it doesn't make sense in the same way that Under the Silver Lake doesn't make sense, is what I'm saying. Is the point I'm trying to make.
But are you saying then that Lovecraft doesn't make sense?
Yeah, no, of course. If you were to start a story of Lovecraft and be like, oh, there's people with fish features. And it doesn't make sense necessarily, but the idea is that you're kind of suspending disbelief for the story of this. So my argument is not that this is bad, but that Under the Silver Lake is good, and that you aren't seeing that.
Under the Silver Lake is set in the real world, though, so it applies real world rules to it.
So if they were to make a live action a version of it, but these have humans that live in a city with a lighthouse. These are all real things. Yeah.
But there's no magic monster or ethereal demon or curse in Under the Silver Lake. It's just human.
On the surface that you can see. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. No,
there's nothing. And I hate that movie. Well, it's so bad.
I'm just saying that, like, I think that anime and manga does have this weird excuse to be weirder, and that's not a bad thing. I'm glad that it has the excuse to be weirder because then it can do whatever it wants and tell the story it wants to do. But it bothers me because there's movies that do similar themes and have similar ideas, like David Lynch's Twin Peaks. If I was to have, I've already ruined the Visage, but if I was to show you David Lynch's Twin Peaks, I feel like you wouldn't necessarily like it, but if it was an anime, I think you would like it, and I don't know why. And that's nothing wrong with you.
Interesting.
That's nothing wrong with you. It's just like it's an interesting thing.
The medium.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing with mediums over the years that people have become accustomed to that I think is interesting, where we like, especially pacing. Like the pacing of this story is
Oh, it's
god
so rushed.
awful. It's so bad. Like if any TV show or movie ever was to come out with the pacing that this TV series does, it would be panned as one of the worst movies ever. You'd be like, what the fuck is happening? Wait, what do you mean that there's now a mosquito, zombie, vampire, women? Wait, okay, but those are done. Now there's wait, what do you mean that there's a city that's, wait, hold, stop. Like, you would be freaking out over what the fuck is going on. But I feel like there's this kind of like excuse with anime or manga where, like, okay, well, they have a budget. You can only draw so much. You can only do so much and tell a story.
Well, I think
so. It's weird, but also apparently this took 5 years to make, which is another thing. Apparently this took 5 years to make.
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's rough.
But I think the other thing to remember though is there's an entire manga story. So it would be like if Harry Potter, not the full story, because the full story of Harry Potter would be much longer than even the manga. If you were to condense one book into like a 45-minute movie, is like the equivalent. Like
it's like The Hobbit. It's because it's actually almost the inverse of The Hobbit, because the Lord of the Rings, for example, was 3 movies, 3 books, right? When The Hobbit came out, The Hobbit is only 1 book.
Oh yeah,
but they felt the need to make it a trilogy because Lord of the Rings was a trilogy.
Yep.
So they stretched 1 book out to like 3 movies, and it made it feel so hollow, and like parts of it just felt so empty that it kind of ruins the story. And I feel like this is almost the opposite, where you have such an abundance of lore and background stories
and really cool elements, but you only get them for like
2 hours.
You get 2 monsters almost in an episode.
Yeah. And it sucks because it makes me want to say that it's like, it's not a bad thing that it's so good that I didn't get more of it, but it is a bad thing that the story that I was given is so rushed and it's so quickly paced, and there's so many things that are left up in the air and make me feel like characters were just kind of thrown into it just to be an action piece for that episode. Like why weren't characters that are pivotal to episode 2 and 3 established in episode 1? We should have met these people early on.
I think they didn't
exactly.
and yeah,
and that's fine. I get that, but they need to account for that, right? And again, they had, apparently there was 5 years and a budget that was like thrown all around for this show, and I don't blame any of the animators or anything like that. I think it's like a greater system that kind of makes this shitty at the end of the day, but not shitty. It's not bad. It's not like a bad show by any means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That yes, I don't know if I have much more I gotta say about that.
Okay. Final review. Did your rating change at all, do you think?
I land at a solid 6 out of 10. I think that it is a beautiful artistic rendition of what Junji Ito put out into the world. I think that some of the animations and scenes are genuinely horrific and like fun and tense. The whole show itself isn't very scary. I don't think like the whole show is scary, but it falls flat with a lot of the story elements. I didn't care about a lot of the characters and lost track of who some of the characters were from how quickly kind of it jumps back and forth. But yeah, I land on a 6 out of 10. That's it.
I think I'll probably end up at a 7 out of 10. And again, I think it has a big part to do with like 3 of the 4 episodes being a very different quality than the first. And then the fact that the pacing was just so rushed because it was condensed. I really wish this was, if not like a 1 or 2 movie thing, or like give it a full season. Like just let it have a full season. But it's something that watching the second time, I enjoyed it. I found the parts to be still like, wow, that is really, really dark. But it's like the things it does well, I think it does so well. That's why when it's doing well, super
Yeah.
strong 8. Otherwise, I think overall consistency, that's where it lands at the 7.
No, and that's where I have to agree, because like I think if any other show was to have this kind of like storyline, pacing, characters, all this stuff, like it would be super low. But it's the animation, the music too is really good. Even the voice acting, even in the English dub, it's really well done. It's really not that bad. They tried very hard and succeeded. And so yeah, that's where I land on it. All right, I believe it is my turn to give a suggestion for you. Now, this may have been one you've already watched. It's a little bit new. But even if you have watched it, I would like us to talk about it. So, unless you're adamantly against it, I want to talk about Sinners. Came out this past year.
Don't think I've seen that.
No, the vampire movie Sinners. You don't know nothing?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Great. It is on HBO Max. So if you have that.
Are we doing the thing where I'm guessing what it's gonna be?
Oh. I mean, I guess I honestly, with this one, I assumed you had already known something about it, so I was like, hey.
No, absolutely no idea.
I guess since you don't, sure. What do you think Sinners is about?
Well, now I know it involves vampires.
Yeah, sure.
But my guess is that it's going to be like the opposite, where it's like vampires are the actual persecuted and humans are the actual bads. And that is my guess.
Right. I see. That's a good guess. I like that. All right. So, if you don't want to be spoiled for next week's episode of the Neon Valley podcast, make sure to watch Sinners, which came out just this past year, I believe 2024, it might even be a 2025 film. Actually, it's a 2025 film. I'm stupid. Just came out this past year, so make sure to watch that one. And if you want to support us, check out our Patreon, which will be listed in the description below. Make sure to join our Discord. I can't tell if Mitchell is just being stoically still or if he's frozen. He is just being stoically still. That is good to know.
Hi.
Do you have anything you want to let the audience know before we leave today?
Yes, November 28th, the Death Note music video drops. You can check that out on my YouTube. Links will be in bio. You guys got to check that out.
Do it. Listen to that shit. Watch that shit with your eyeballs.
And
those cones and rods.
New music in
suck them in.
New music in January.
January.
New music in January.
It's going to be called January, which with how much music is coming out.
Holy shit, we are. You know what? Fuck it. We're calling it January. So January, I actually have a track with Scourge. That's the only thing you're going to get to know for now. You should definitely watch the music video because at the end, there might be a little hint.
Might be gay love.
So.
Maybe not. We don't know. Probably not, but maybe. Talking about gay love. Sucking
also,
on each other's knobs.
Apparently, Curious had like the entire wiki of Spiral. It's not about pointlessness. It's about the fact that everything will repeat into infinity, which means Kiri and Shuichi are always destined to exist and try to fight against the Spiral.
Wait, I never said it was about pointlessness. Did I ever say that?
No, I think I did. Like it was hopeless. That's when I was like, oh, there's
I got
and he's
you.
like, no, it's actually the opposite of it's forever.
Well, that's kind of. Said, sorry. Go ahead.
I would say he said peak reference of Twin Peak.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think Junji Ito is a big fan of Lovecraft and David Lynch. Ironically, there's a fun little like self-circle jerk that happened in the past like 40 years where apparently David Lynch loves Japanese horror. But after David Lynch released like Twin Peaks and all of his movies and like Mulholland Drive, Japan loves David Lynch. So they have been remaking David Lynch's stuff. So there's been this weird kind of cyclical nature between like American Midwest horror and Japanese horror that is just kind of like fed into each other, and it's awesome. I fucking love it. It's my favorite thing ever.
That's super cool.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the podcast, and we will see you next week. Bye.